Hey, hi everybody. Spenny here. This is sort of fun and special and different. For those of you who have followed me for a while, you probably remember the live streams I used to do. You'd probably remember Sex with Spenny, something that I really liked and I used to do. And I used to do it with a guy who you probably know. And if you don't, you should. His name is John Brown. Very funny, very creative. Also a Kenny versus Spenny super fan who runs the Fans of Kenny versus Spenny. I think I've got that right, fan page on Facebook. And he has been nice and lovely enough to do talk to me now, and we'll catch up and talk about the future. Mr. John Brown. There he is.
Spencer, you look great.
Jonathyn.
You look amazing. You look like someone who's been through a lot and survived.
See, you punched in now. We had a little chat before. Now I'm punched in.
Now I got you nice and centered. You look good.
There you go. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a really busy day, a busy time. I'm doing the whole Patreon thing. I'm doing music. I'm recording. I'm got a life with a family that I love, and things are actually pretty good.
Awesome. And I'll just say, I miss this.
Oh,
I miss having this. I'm so glad we're back doing this. Even whatever we do in the future, I'm glad I'm involved.
Okay, honestly. Good. Well, I'm glad too. So let's just start with a little story that happened. Jonathyn, Kenny C Music. Okay. What happened was John and I lost my YouTube channel. I think it was because I think it was because of X-Rated.
I think there was a lot of material on there that was a little too spicy for what YouTube was doing at the time.
I don't think it was Sex with Spenny. I think it was so that happened, and John went. I think you worked a little with Kenny. I'm not sure, but anyways, I stopped doing the love streams because I didn't have a channel anymore, and it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So one day I kept in touch with John as always, and he sends me a little text. I think it was. Or a messenger thing on Facebook that there's a podcast that wants me on it. I've done a lot of podcasts. Now, the thing about this podcast, which made me get a boner, was that it apparently was going to pay me $5,000.
Okay, I got to stop you.
Okay.
You contacted me.
No.
They contacted you first.
I'm almost okay. Maybe that's
they contacted you, and then you said to me, "Can you
talk to him?" You're right. Yeah. I apologize. Okay. You're right. So, you know, you can call me greedy. I don't think I'm particularly greedy. I think I just, to get paid for doing a podcast, when I've done 100 for free, it sounded really good in my brain. So basically what happened was I reached out to John to help me set it up. He gave me a contact information. I went down into my basement, and they had said that they needed to do a pre-call with me, Zoom call, in order to readjust and rejig my Facebook page so that I could A, be paid, and B, do their podcast. I'm an idiot. So I get on the phone with this guy, and he sounds foreign. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, foreign people are lovely.
Yeah. And he starts telling me to get on my Facebook page, and I share a screen with him. Now, I've shared a screen with many people on Zoom. Problem was, it wasn't Zoom. It's a fake Zoom facade that scammers use. And long story short, although the funniest thing is, after I'm doing all of this, I swear to God, this is exactly what happened. I'm talking to this guy. I'm pushing all the buttons he's telling me to push. I say to him, dude, this would be an incredible scam. I said that. Of course, it was a scam. Of course, it was a scam. And I am now without Facebook. I lost my fan page probably 6 months ago. That had, I want to say, 80 to 90,000 people on there. And it was really my main source of posting shit. And now it's X, which have way less people, but it's growing. Anyways, I'm an idiot. I own it. It was not John's fault. It was my fault. And that's that story. So if you're wondering where that page went, it's still up on Facebook. I just can't post anything on it.
There's a positive ending to this story, because this debacle, you know, that debacle brought you to the next level, which is Patreon.
Yeah, I guess you could think of that, but I think it was more to do with, Kenny pushed me, to his credit, to do it, yeah, it could be. It's a
I think
cornucopia of bullshit in my
a
life that.
I think a lot of people want you to succeed, and I think a lot of people, despite what you may believe, so people are gonna say, and I know that you are the last person who's ever gonna say, "I wanna take advantage of people and take their money just because." I know you wanna do something solid and good that people are not only gonna pay for, but they're gonna appreciate.
I
But
appreciate
that
that. I mean, it's just this weird thing in these days where, if you promote something too much, they say you're greedy, this, that, and the other. The truth is, and I don't say this with proudly, is that I actually love to create.
yeah.
So
That's obvious. That's always been obvious. That's why I've always gotten such a kick out of working with you
right. Well,
because
thank you.
and
So
but back to the
putting into
beginning.
the Sammy Maudlin show.
Yeah. But I mean, back to the beginning. The first time that we even spoke, I said, "What about doing this? What about doing this?" And everything, and you were like, "Well, this, but let's do it this way." And the end result was, I think we had a pretty fun time.
Yeah,
I think we made some really
it's
great
always
stuff.
it's fun. This
Yeah.
is being an entertainer, if you want to call me that, is my dream. It's always been my dream since I was a kid, and in my own small way, I'm doing it, and I'm very grateful. So, okay, so having said that, so John and I talked a little bit before we went on this thing, and we're going to repost it, I believe, later. That we're going to collaborate again with content. It'll be for Patreon, and it'll be I'll promo it on the different things to get the people to come over and sign up. It's so cheap, John. It's so cheap.
You know what? And I know you're doing it because the money is nice, but you need an outlet where you can just do what you want to do.
Well, this is a great topic, because here's the reality of my life, and I have to accept it, okay, which is that I love Kenny versus Spenny. I'm so proud of it. I get to meet people like you. I've made money from it. I do live touring from it, but it's a very boxed in situation for me. Whether you want to call me the straight man or whatever it is, I'm very limited in what I can do and what I can't do. Where Kenny, he can all of a sudden, put a tinfoil hat on a gerbil and create some little sketch, it just, so that's kind of the way it worked out for me. And then you get into what they call typecasting or whatever you want to call it. And I think I'm a modern version of that. So
You've
I'm
been Garfunkeled, is what happened.
I've been Garfunkel.
You have been Garfunkeled.
And it's a bit frustrating for me. So here's what I'm doing is I am going to continue creating content like what I want to do with John, my music, my selfie shtick videos that are about anything under the sun. And I'm going to do Kenny versus Spenny content too, which is commentary, which I've got 10 in the can. I'm going to give the public what they want, but I'm also going to be myself. So if I have to lean a little bit on the Kenny versus Spenny stuff, because that's what people want with me, I'm in no position to complain. I'm a very lucky guy.
We've been watching, obviously, the original commentaries from way back, the DVDs.
Yes.
Then, Kenny's got his thing. He's doing his commentary. Everyone is saying, where's Spenny's take on all of this?
I just released the octopus one, and I was nervous because here's what happened. You probably don't know this guy. His name's Dean Blundell. He's a radio star that's now online, and he does a lot of politics. He's a great guy. And I watched Kenny do his thing with Sebi, and I said, it would be nice to have someone to, you would have been a perfect person, but you live in the US, so that couldn't have worked. So he agreed to do the commentary with me. And then literally the day, and we had to travel to get to the studio because it was in a different city. He got COVID. That was the day before. So basically I had to do it by myself, and I did the 10 episodes, and Octopus is the first one we released.
So that's the second time COVID screwed you. If you remember the old
everything
Eve live stream where the COVID screwed that whole thing up too. Remember
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. COVID,
well, that was different. That was, we actually did it, but because we had to change the format because Kenny was in isolation. It was the poor guy. I can't think of his name now. He's a friend of Brandon's who did all the camera work and stuff. At the last minute, had to change everything, and there was some.
Yeah, he got a lot of flack for that. But
he's an audio. He was a great guy. It literally changed like that, and the guy was behind the 8 ball, and obviously that's when you make mistakes.
Day one, I remember this is going way back again. You and I were talking about, what are we going to do? Now that we all remember, it was you and me and a couple other people in these group calls saying, what can we do? What can we do cheap that's going to be entertaining, that's going to be solid, people are going to want to watch it. And one of the things that I had always kind of pushed for is to do these commentaries, and to do it, we could do it in this format right here. We could be just watching, and then you could be just talking, we can pause it, whatever. But that sort of thing is surprisingly easy to do, and you don't need.
I did 10.
Yeah,
I've put one up, and it's getting really good reviews from the people that matter, the patrons, and that's good. So I was a little worried because I was expecting to do it with someone else, and it didn't work out because of that damn COVID.
It's not your friend. Patreon.com/Spencer Spenny Rice.
Right.
That's the page.
Can I just say something else? Okay. I got a call from Kenny, who of course became a tier 1 member, the $2 membership. He's got a lot of money, and he couldn't.
That's the only way you can talk to you now?
3. Anyway, but he's called me, and he said a few times that I'm posting too much. My take on this. Now, we talked about this briefly, but have I already said this on when we were going live?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So here's the thing you have to understand. First of all, I'm an idiot. So a couple of times I've uploaded videos to the different sites to promo the Patreon page, and I didn't realize how long they take to upload. So I'm a very nervous Nelly, and I'm very impatient sometimes. So I would start again, and then the poor people were getting 2, 3 of the same videos. So Kenny goes, "What are you doing?" And I didn't even know. And I finally figured out that's what's been happening. So I think I've got that under control.
Good.
Kenny thinks I should post once every 2 weeks. There's no way I can do it. I have a compulsion to do this stuff.
I think what he's saying is this is how he does it.
Yeah.
So it's the way to do it. I think you should be, whenever you have a thought, you can be on there just chatting.
Yeah, that seems to be more what I want to do. But, I don't want to, again, have people expecting stuff. But I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And if it's annoying to people, for some reason, John, they have no problem telling me that they don't like something.
That's a gift.
Right.
Here's the thing with Patreon. It's these people care about you enough to give you money.
Yeah.
Just to see how you're doing, what's going on, give me something new. The more you give them, the more value they're getting. Even if it's just, hey, I got a splinter. Look at the splinter I got today. That's interesting.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I burnt my. It's starting to heal. Those 2 stabs. I put it in boiling water. I thought it was eczema, and then I realized no, I burned myself. But anyway. So that's that. So I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and unless there's some kind of financial repercussions that I can't imagine right now, I will continue to do what I want.
There must have been a real because I know you mentioned the YouTube and how we had this great channel with all this great content, and then one day it was all gone, and that's heartbreaking. But what I miss the most is those live streams, those moments where you really connect with people. Some of them not necessarily on your side, but it's energy. It's energy, and that's what I miss. Because people can love you, people can hate you. They're both going to want to talk to you, and this is great to have that opportunity to take advantage of.
I had a little bit of a panty knot meltdown yesterday. I posted a thing, and I just to be perfectly clear, I have no problem if people like Kenny more than me. I have no problem if people don't like me. But if you're going to go out of your way to shit diarrhea on me, I'm going to shit diarrhea back. And I think that's fair.
That's fair. And that literally has happened.
But then it gets complicated. And you know this better than anyone, probably. The people that like me, but they think they're being funny and they want to be like Kenny. How am I supposed to know the difference, John?
That's the problem is that's how they think you get treated, because that's all they know.
Right.
You are the lovable loser character. You are the second banana. You are the oats to his hall, and there's no way around it.
The only person that treats me worse than Kenny fans is my wife, but that's a marriage. That's what.
Now that's a show I'd want to see.
There you go. I'm kidding, of course.
No, your wife is lovely.
Okay, so what else could we talk about?
Well,
so we're gonna do something, John and I, in the future. What I've pitched to him, and we're gonna have to go through the creative process because we haven't connected in a month or two, is maybe a show like this, sort of set up like this, where each show is a different topic that I'm passionate about and care about. And we'll be able to have questions, right, in the chat, like the old days.
Of course.
And I'll answer questions as long as it's about the subject that we're talking about. If we're talking about the Beatles and you tell me to pay Wolfish, I'm not gonna talk about it.
That's fair.
Yeah, and there'll be some Kenny versus Spenny content too. And I'll float this, John, out to the Patreon people to see if they think it's a good idea.
I think that if they're already on board, they're gonna love whatever you want to do. No one's ever going to say, I don't like that. They want to see how it looks. And they're going to say, I like this I don't like as much, but do it all, throw it all at the wall and see what sticks.
This is a morphing thing, because one of the shows that I wanted to do that I've got money into a studio and I've got time there and I've got to go do some content. I was going to do what's called a recommendation show.
Okay.
Right. And then I realized, you know what, I could just do that with my selfie stick. You know what I mean? So, I think that's what's going to replace that. Like Denial of Death, which is my favorite book. I would love to talk about that for a half hour and do my little research, because I've read it 3 times, but I haven't read it in a while.
And all the 17-year-olds that watch Kenny versus Spenny are going to say pay Wolfish and leave, but they'll come back next week for the next thing.
This is my lot in life.
The problem is you're too hip for the room sometimes. That's the problem.
Well, I don't know, hip or boring, but I try to make a Denial of Death, and I don't want to do the show now, obviously, but Denial of Death changed my life in the way I look at the world. And I will put it in terms that a layman can understand, because I can't do anything else. I'm not that smart. So that's
your passion is your passion. Whatever you believe in, you want to share that with the world. That's what
do guitars. And that way, if they say, "Oh, I'm not interested in that topic," they won't watch that week. Do you know what I mean?
If you have Noam Chomsky on as a guest and someone says, "How's Tara doing?" then you haven't quite hit the exact group.
Noam Chomsky is a great episode, because I have, and I don't want to get into the details. We'll do that when we do the episode. I have sort of turned on him a little bit.
Really?
Although tremendous respect for his intellect, obviously, but the politics of it. And we'll do things on politics, on Trump anyway. So that's it. It might evolve into something else, but John and I will discuss it. But
the world comes back at you and says, how come he's talking about all this politics stuff? And then the minute the show goes away, they all say, what happened to Spenny's show? I missed when he talked about politics and stuff.
Well, that's kind of happened. It's so toxic out there, especially with what's happening in the Mideast. I had to step back. Didn't like being called a baby killer and someone who supports genocide on a bi-minutely basis. So that wasn't fun.
I think, honestly, getting back, doing this, talking to you now, all this stuff, I think it feels like a rebirth. It feels like
here's the bad news for you.
Which
might be good news, and I'm running out of batteries. Okay. You're going to have to do a little bit of research on the stuff you don't know about. Like if I say, let's do an episode on the Honeymooners, you probably don't have to do any research. Sure. If I say Marx Brothers, maybe you have to do any research. But if I say Denial of Death, you might have to do some research. And so will I, by the way.
Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, let's do it. Let's lightly format these things so we know where we're going, and then let the argument take you where it goes.
I am going to later this evening float the idea to my all Patreon subscribers and see what they say. I will send it to you. I assume you're not on my Patreon.
I can't afford that.
$2. Very sorry state of affairs.
I'll sell some old Kenny versus Spenny DVDs to pay for it. How about that?
Right. They're worth a lot of money.
It's true. Well, I told you. I probably didn't tell you, but I realized I've got all this stuff, and I love all of the stuff. Obviously, everything you've ever done. I am a fan. Obviously,
you're a collector.
I'm a collector, right? And now I'm at the
point Prince. The guy has a guitar that's like Prince's guitar, if I recall.
I do. I've got a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking there are people out there who are more psychotic about the show than I am, and they don't have these things. And I'm ready to release my stuff into the world.
Yeah.
And
cash on, baby.
If it, well, I mean, there's that, but there's also someone else is going to give it more love than I can give it at this point.
You are ridiculous. Cash out, get the money.
Okay.
You know what happened with the suitcase. So here's a quick story.
Oh, tell us. I'll be right back. Tell the suitcase story. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
So basically, John and I, when we were doing the love stream, I said, how can I make some money? So he said, do you have any Kenny versus Spenny material or props or whatever you want to call it? And I said, I got the suitcase, the famous suitcase, Rant suitcase, which was sitting in my basement. It was so filthy that I stopped using it. And so John and I, we did a couple of videos. We had a raffle. I can't remember what we called it, a ruffle or something. And it was about the winner would get the suitcase. So some guy won in the US, which pissed me off because I had to mail it to him and that cost too much money. But anyways, I made money off the whole thing, thank God. And I sent it to him. And then somehow he contacted me. I said, how's the suitcase doing? He goes, my wife threw it away. Anyways, that's that story. And now he's leaving me here alone. Oh, there he
is. No, I remember it all like it was yesterday. What the worst?
You know, the guy his wife made him throw it away. Okay.
Of course, which is kind of exactly how you kind of want that story to end, because it's sort of it just ties in perfectly with your.
Oh, I actually wanted to end with the Smithsonian Institute. Beside Archie Bunker's chair.
The Louvre showed interest for a minute.
The Louvre would have been nice. Anyways, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's a lot of Benjamins, as you.
Well, I'm saying. I mean, this really is kind of holy grail stuff. But I mean, do you have copies of all of these?
I have a lot of them. Yes. I haven't gotten to the point that I want to sell them. There you go.
That's someone who really likes Kenny versus Spenny right there. That he bought testes.
Yeah, I've seen them. They come up at the show for Kenny's signature sometimes. That's the Comedy Central. A quick story on that
version. Yeah.
So they did extra features, and we shot it in New York City.
I remember.
What people don't remember was that same weekend I went to Levon Helm's farm for what's called the Midnight Ramble, where I took a lot of Percocets and drank a lot of liquor. So by the time that concert was over, and it was such a great experience, I love the band. I had to get to New York, which was a long drive. It's Woodstock, New York. I had to drive to Manhattan. If you look at the extra features on that video, my face is so swollen from the booze and the pills. I look like Charlie Brown.
That's odd, because you really don't have any kind of history of alcohol or drug use ever. I don't have any stories that I can think of.
John, let's tease that, because that could be an episode of the new show.
I like that.
Okay,
and that's going to be a good one.
Very eclectic. Like, I want to do one show. Write this down. Write this down.
Okay, all right. Hold on.
I want to do a show on Chuckles Bites the Dust.
Chuckles Bites the Dust. Excellent, amazing
Mary Tyler Moore episode. We can do a half hour on that. I really think we can. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a half hour, right?
Right? It can be whatever you want. That's the great thing.
That's the great thing.
Could be 20 minutes. It could be 2 hours.
All right. I've got to go to Costco with my wife. Beautiful.
Excellent.
I'm not saying we open with it, but let's.
That's one of my. And you know what? And your patrons can suggest stuff.
Right.
They can say, what about this?
Right.
I would love to see you talk for 40 minutes about whatever's going on in the world. Just what's your play on it? Because despite what you have been trained to believe, people like to hear what you have to say.
They might not always. The simple truth is that I've accepted many years ago, which is why the haters, I'm calling them the toxic Kenny haters, Spenny haters that are Kenny fans. They bore me, because all the things they say when they want to be really mean, I've accepted years ago. People love Kenny more than me. He's going to make more money than me. All that stuff. That's all good. You can ask Kenny. I always congratulate him when things go well for him. I don't get shit on everything he does. He does that to me, but that's him. So that's that. So, it's all good. They can hate all they want. I got a finger and I will use it to block them.
He's got a lot of money. You've got a lot of heart.
Yes. Yes. I've got some money, by the way.
You've got some money, but let me ask you.
Kenny says that I feed my children cum because I have no money.
The kids got to eat.
To which I say it's very difficult feeding the kids.
I'm getting $2 a pop for these pins. These are $85 each. I don't understand. How is that possible that one is, I mean, it's the same
Well,
thing.
Kenny's joke is you can get a Spenny 8x10 for $3 or signed for $2.50.
I think I gave him that joke, actually.
Yeah, you might have. Thanks for that, by the way. All right, I'm going to go to Costco, and we'll be in touch, and I am going to post that tonight. That'll be one of the things on my list. I have a list, by the way, and I recommend everybody does have a list. It's a yellow legal pad list. I do things and I cross them out. That's how I've gotten to this position of utter poverty.
I've just started my list. I'm in.
You got to use the yellow legal pad, though.
You are going to be having fun. You're going to be doing great stuff. People are going to tune in.
All this stuff is fun to me. But you know what's not fun? Me running out of batteries while we're still going. So I'll talk to you later.
Spenny, it's absolutely a pleasure. I'm glad that we're back chatting again. This is going to be a lot of fun.
All right, good.